Hi, everyone. Welcome to Virtual Cobalt Cafe. It is week number 293 of our virtual series. Happy to have you here with us. My name is Rick Lupert, your MC for this evening of poetry. My apologies to those of you in different parts of the world where it's not actually evening. I'm so very time zone centric, and I apologize. Tonight, in addition to our open reading, our featured reader is Gray Davidson Carroll. Gray, really happy that you are here with us. More about you in a little bit. When we get to your featured reading spot, we're going to do 5 open readers and then Gray and then the rest of the open reading. If you would like to participate in the open and you haven't already done so, please send me a message in the chat and I will be happy to add you to the list. The time limit is well, the suggested time limit is less is more, and the maximum number of poems you can read in the open reading is 2. So those are the 2 crucial pieces of information that you need to know to participate in tonight's reading. We also have a 1 drink minimum here at the Cobalt Cafe. Please observe that in any way that you are comfortable doing so. And finally, make sure you have the chat room open so that way you can interact with each other since you're all muted throughout the festivities. It's the place where you can react to what you're hearing, say hi to each other, send each other secret messages, whatever you would like to do. The chat is available for you to do that. Having said all of those things, before we get to our first open reader, I would like to ask if there are any questions. Cathabella, yes.
Siggy, not Siggy. I know you're not Siggy. Rick, do you take naps? Do you ever take a nap?
Not usually, not intentionally, though I find that sometimes I wake up not realizing that I'd gone to sleep.
Ah, that's great. I understand.
Yeah. I'm a fan of the concept of the nap, but rarely do I initiate a nap.
Yes. I think I've used to be that way until I tend to wake up at 4 a.m. And
Ooh.
after 2 hours, I think it's nap time.
Well, there ain't nothing wrong with sleep whenever it comes along.
I
So,
call it muse time, M-U-S-E, muse time. That's what muse time starts at 4 a.m. And by 6 a.m., it's nap time.
right. Okay. Well, good. Thank you, Cathabella. Thanks for sharing that. Um, any other questions? Looks like Martin has a question. Hi, Martin.
Good evening, Rick. My question tonight is just curious if you have a favorite piece of shoreline.
Good question. I'm definitely a fan of the Pacific Coast, in the Malibu area, heading up just as you leave Santa Monica and you really leave the first part of Malibu. California becomes a whole other state. Really interesting, beautiful. So that would probably be my favorite section of coast.
Cool. I've been to Santa Monica Beach, but not farther up yet, I'm afraid.
Well, you're not far from the really good stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong, the ocean is pretty great, wherever you are, but it's also nice to have the hills and the lack of city.
To spending 2 days in LA and San Diego, it took me a while to remember what's east and what's west because I've never seen an ocean on that side before.
Sure. Yeah, it gets confusing. All right, Martin, thank you. Good question. Any other questions before we get going? There's a few names I don't recognize in the waiting room. I put those names in the chat. Oh, great, you know those folks. All 3 of them. I should let them all in, is what you're saying. There. Let me know in the chat. We're going to get going. Martin Parker, you're going to be our second reader. Please welcome our first reader, Mr. Tezozomok. Hello, Tez.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Can I share screen?
Yeah, let me adjust that setting. Having trouble finding that. I can't find the setting. Tez, I'm sorry, I'm going to keep looking for it, but maybe you can just start reading and I'll let you know if I find it.
Wow.
Tez, you there? All right, not sure what's happened to Mr. Tezozomok, so we're going to move on to our next reader, Martin Parker. And we'll say Cathabella, Siggy, and Jackie are on deck. Please welcome our first reader, Martin.
Hello again, Rick. I've got a couple poems here that, as you might have guessed, have the title of Shoreline. This first one is one I wrote recently called Shoreline. Starts like this. To the whisper I hearken in vain, hard to discern through the foggy beams tumbling around my brain, reflecting pain that hints of the past, refractions that don't sustain, vibrations that founder on stormy seas, never quite reaching the shore where hopes once stood like far-off dreams, foundations washed out in the rain. And then I've got a cover piece called The Shoreline by an English poet named Patrick Williamson. We tread on the limpet encrusted slipway to the shallows, rock-faced debris spilling into the sea that draws in its breath. Condensed layers of ages behind us mizzle on the watchtower. The distance traveled here shorter to the eye than that taken. Leave footprints in sand as softly like a whisper waves reach up, clutching as they break free, sliding back, ready to have another go. So thank you very much. I'll put my usual links in the chat in case you want to check out my multilingual artwork. Thank you again.
Thank you very much, Martin, for being here, for a surprise going first. And nice job as always. Do post your stuff in the chat and people will check it out. Thanks so much for being here. Martin Parker, everyone. I did figure out the chat setting. Zoom recently changed where the controls were for it, and there's 3 different areas to look at different chat settings, so it took me a second. But got it. So if you would like to share screen, that is available to you. So we're going to say, Tez, you are on deck. And we're going to go to the collab now. Please welcome Jackie and Cathabella and Siggy. Hello to all 3 of you.
I have to get Rick. He's here now. And his flute will be here in a moment. So here we are with Mona Lisa Smiles. And we'll get to the nap later. We'll need a nap after this for sure. Okay. And Rick, before I start, when you said it was hard to find that setting, I noticed that my mute was still on. at a time when ordinarily you mute everyone. So I don't know how that happened. It could be connected to whatever happened. You know how you mute everyone, but
Sure.
my
I'll check it
mute,
out, Cathabella.
yeah,
Just
it's
go ahead
amazing.
and
Okay, here
do
we
your
go. Mona Lisa smiles. Jackie.
Trying to smile despite a bad haircut for the school picture. I wonder if that was how Mona Lisa felt.
My daughter comes to the rescue. Eyebrow expert. Mine need darkening, I tell her. I need to raise them.
Bushy monobrow, bridge across nose irritating, scars from fixing. Along came hot wax, pain worth beauty, framing eye.
That's perfect with the monobrow for Mona Lisa. There comes Jackie.
Wearing an enigmatic smile. I mimic the Cheshire Cat and the crescent moon.
Doing homework while I hold my nose up in the mirror. I wanted to be bug. I wanted it to be pug. I even used tape. Siggy.
Downward corners, Dad's unusual smile. Hereditary, it seems, seeing toddler's expression, cute and appealing.
Unbridled wins the title contest, Year of the Horse. Such a good way to be wild and keep your circle open.
A doll cut off from the paper chain. First day of school, pondering the meaning of getting in a circle.
So perfect. I call it my compass creature. Foot stuck in sand. I walk in circles as it learns to draw.
Unincluded in the circle of friends, posing for photos. I exchanged looks with the ones at the edges.
That's great, Jackie.
Sketching fruits too angular or too round. I was still the apple of mother's eye.
Round and round in my belly dance days. In figure eights, I still shimmy when I brush my teeth. Siggy.
That's a repeat, Cathabella, so you're next.
That's okay, go ahead.
Downward corners, Dad's unusual smile. Hereditary, it seems, seeing toddler's expression, cute and appealing.
An expert napper, my husband, not me. I didn't know how till my midnight muse. Couldn't stay up any longer. Jackie. Jackie? Siggy. Siggy, read Jackie.
Okay.
Okay, I got it. Sorry about
Okay,
that.
here comes Jackie.
Girly gossip with limited vocabulary. I take a nap filled with dreams of grandeur.
That's perfect. I think you took a nap in between there. You just took a nap and woke up with your dreams of grandeur.
I wish. Internet troubles.
Rick is going to show you its flute.
It's a simple flute made by a man who makes simple flutes of his own design. He called this an Egyptian flute, but I don't know why.
Rick, are there any earrings in that flute? Because Cathabella's missing a pair.
She's what?
Cathabella's missing a pair of earrings, so I just was wondering if they were in the flute.
Oh,
I don't
no,
know.
we found them.
I'll
Oh, you
check.
found them?
I'll
Oh,
check.
never
There's-
mind. Okay, problem
There's
solved.
some bit of a peanut butter sandwich is in there.
That was in the clarinet.
It's always good to have food on store for emergencies. Thank you guys very much. Thank you, Cathabella, Siggy, Jackie, and
Lots
Rick.
of fun. Thank you, Rick.
Appreciated the cat references and all the fun and artistry that you guys bring to us when you collaborate. Round of applause for the collab. On deck, we have Ken Scott. We're going to go back to Mr. Tezozomok. There you are, Tez, and I do have the screen sharing all functional, so go for it.
All right, thank you. All right, can you guys see me? All right. All right, this piece is titled Taco Tuesday, Trademark Holiday. Aslan is a daily practice. Look, they gave us a day since the 1930s offered as a dining special, but extracted and trademarked by Wyoming Taco John's in 1989. Taco Tuesdays trademark, seasoned with hashtags, folded into corporate joy, discount citric acid lime, two for one identity. They gave us a day like we forgot how to eat, like we forgot how to remember, like our grandmothers needed permission from a billboard to press masa into existence. They said Tuesday. We said, hey, ¿qué pasó con Monday, cabrones? Not the movie, pendejo. Because out here in the long corridor of asphalt and exhaust, in the glow of the 1 a.m. truck parked crooked under a flickering light, in the grease, stained foil and paper plates, even in the cacophony of the ranchera music, clashing rattle of the gas generator, every day is taco day. 3 times if you're lucky, once if you're not. Sometimes just the smell, sometimes just the memory. And while they're branding Tuesdays, the empire is naming days like weapons. Bridge Day, Power Plant Day, Open the Horror Moose, Straight Day, Hell Day, a calendar of threats, a playbook of extraction, a menu where the only item is domination, served hot with a side of televised confidence and ketchup, trademark. They stand at podiums and baptize infrastructure with fire, drones, tomahawks, and settler lives. Call it progress, call it leadership, call it sacrifice. And somewhere in the background, somebody's abuela still flipping tortillas like the world never asked permission to continue. You see the contrast? They say Power Plant Day. We say Comal Heat. They say Bridge Day. We say the hand that passes the top window without asking your politics. Only grilled onions or jalapenos. They say open the straight. We say open the salsa. Because no one has to live on bread at all. No one. And then they extract the seasonings too. Not the land this time. They got that already. The flavor. They take cumin, strip it of its memory, take chile and file it down into sweet compliance. Garlic becomes powder. Cilantro gets deported. Allspice denied entry. Cacao disappears at the border like a refugee. They call it taco seasoning. Pre-measured, pre-approved, pre-forgetful, pre-indigestion. A little envelope of empire where ethnic culture goes to die and everything tastes like it passed inspection. Just add bottled water, they say. Like history dissolves that easy. Every day is taco day at home. That's not a slogan. That's a survival system. That's epistemology wrapped in foil. That's history. Read it until it speaks its native tongue again. You think this is about food? No, this is about settler jurisdiction. They count power plants, we count mouths. They build bridges, to move capital, we build lines at the road coach to move life. They name days to mark destruction. We name nothing, not even San Jasmel, because we never stopped. And look, they want to talk about terror like it's something that happened somewhere else. Running out of wok, salsa roja, salsa verde, pickled carrots and jalapenos, sandwich bags, and little shitty to-go cups with lids, that is real terror. Like it doesn't come stamped with policy, like it doesn't wear a suit and shakes hands and calls you amigo, and then goes off script and says, kiss my ass, deport them all, and call it diplomacy. They raise white men to divine status and then watch them speak like alley noise, saying in the morning, carnal, empire by nightfall, and still, they think we're the ones without a country, without a soul. But go to Aslan at 1 in the morning, go! Watch the line form under sodium light where no one speaks theory, but everybody understands distribution. Watch the exchange, cash to hand, hand to foil, foil to mouth. No confusion matrix, no direct fire engagement process, no JAG brief, no press release, just accuracy. No presidential pedophile, just hungry, not hungry, alive, still here, because we're not your Tuesday. We are not your marketing demographic. We are not your ethnic flavor slot between commercials. We are the tourist curio you cannot brand. We are the system that runs after your system collapses. We are the roach people that scatter when empire deploys its domination. We are the algorithm of survival, trained on centuries of not being fed and feeding anyway. So go ahead, name your days and sanctify your settler leaders. We are eating to outlive you. Pressing masa, heating steel, passing life hand to hand through a small window with a broken screen that never closes. Because when you're building data centers to control the future, we are already eating it. And it tastes like cilantro, onions, piña, al pastor, and a truth you cannot brand. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, doesn't matter. Art here, no one eats bread. The revolution is served warm.
All right, Tez, that was great. Thank you so much. We are the roach people that scatter. Great line there. A lot of great lines in that piece. You have me suspicious now of taco seasoning prepackaged in any form, so that will affect me going forward. Thank you so much for being here. Round of applause for Mr. Tezo Zomok. We have 2 readers left, and then our featured reader, Gray Davidson Carroll. 2 readers left in the first part of the open reading. Melody Anderson Bermudez, you are on deck. Please welcome Ken Scott. Hi, Ken.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Got 2 moderate-sized pieces, medium-sized, whatever you want to call it. First piece I'm going to do is called Images. Ascension, the core of truth, the singularity of the one, the divine sound who is pure silence, the infinitesimal infinite, the fountain of life within the golden palace, the great cycle, the sacred key, the word, the circle of splendor, balance, the water of life, the mind of the all, the sublime light, perfect consciousness, the eye of wisdom, the alchemist of realities, the harmonic resonance, the path of peace, the door of transformation, the temple of wholeness, the omnipresent now, eternal love. That's that one. The second piece that I'm going to do is part of a collection that I was supposed to be trying to publish called Toward the Infinitesimal Infinite. It's the last piece, and I'm going to finish off with that one. It's a shorter piece, and it is called With the Center. With the center, we move through the countless dimensions of reality, like the wind moves through the skies. The chambers of one celestial heart are gateways to the numerous planes of being, their singular rhythm speaking with the sublime voice of ascension, the footsteps of stars on brilliant galactic pathways. I am humbled before the divine glory of eternal love. Sublime Lord of all being, in the midst of the celestial cycles, the voice of perfect rhythm in the heart of the all. I give thanks. I give praise. I give glory and honor to the Spirit of eternal love, who is forever holy, in all places, at all times. With the center, I give thanks. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Ken, thank you. You took us to another plane of existence tonight. Glad to dwell in there for a few minutes amidst the dirty planes of existence we normally exist in outside of Cobalt land. Thank you so much for being here. Round of applause for Ken Scott. On deck is our featured reader, Gray Davidson Carroll. Please welcome now Melody Anderson Bermudes. Hello, Melody.
Hi there, Ken. That was wonderful to follow you. But, I will do my poem is called "I Love You More." Love is the twinkle of stars on the dark blue sky, transposed on the ceiling over my bed on our first night of lovemaking. The fir tree with 4 blackbirds atop, tweeting loudly until the branches were full of noisy blackbirds. Love, one said to another, love, pass it on. Children and a godchild growing up around us, and one dog, Jackson, that twirled in circles before being fed, falling asleep one night and never waking up. All of this is love. Love is being together young, and love is being together old. And love is seeing my love's young face amongst the curvy lines of age. I love you, I say to you every night before we go to sleep. I love you more, you reply, as the days of new love become months, years, decades, a storied lifetime of love. That's it.
Sweet poem, Melody. Thank you so much for sharing that with us and bringing your young face with you to our reading tonight. Round of applause for Melody Anderson Bermudes. Thank you, Melody. On deck after our featured reader will be Gloria Durgee. That leads us now to our featured reader, Gray Davidson Carroll. Gray's got on my radar because of a poem that appeared in Rattle magazine a few months ago. As I love to show off with, as you may know, before I get out of bed every morning, I read the poems that come in the daily email list from poets.org, from Rattle, from a couple of other sources, and that's kind of the foundation upon which my day exists. And so Gray's poem came, and it was full of identity and struggle and honesty and some humor in there, and it was a great way to set my day upon and move forward. And that inspired me to invite Gray to be with us today. A few notes from Gray's bio. Gray Davidson Carroll is a non-binary writer, public health researcher, cold water plunger. I wonder if that will be happening as part of the set tonight. One can hope. Hot chocolate alchemist. That sounds delicious. Hailing from Brooklyn by way of Western Massachusetts, Gray has been nominated for the Best of the Net Award as well as Best New Poets. They're the author of the poetry chapbook Waterfall of Thanks, which I'll post a link to later, which came out a few years ago on Bottle Cap Press. And their work has further appeared, as I mentioned, in Rattle, The Common, Only Poems, Offing, Frontiers in Medicine, Leonardo, and elsewhere. They are polyamorous And if you want to learn more about that, they encourage you to buy them a drink. That sounds like an amazing plan, Gray. Thank you so much for being here. Please welcome our featured reader, Gray Davidson Carroll.
Amazing. And they have been unmuted. Hi, everyone. So exciting to share space with y'all this evening. I'm not going to share my screen. I'm just going to read a bunch of poems through, and we'll do a little bit of narration as we go. Project 2025. Come celebrate with me that every day something has tried to kill me and has failed. Lucille Clifton. Let's get naked and dance together, yeah? Right here and now in Washington Square Park at the end of the Dyke March. All of us up and down in the fountain singing along to Chapel Roan, and my tits are getting bigger. No matter what the government says, and this is the first time my friend has danced free of hiss. And everyone here knows someone who's been killed because of who they are and how they love. But right now, all we are is laughing and alive. And everyone is kissing everyone else, and a group of dolls are taking turns shooting E into one another's asses. And the water is dirty, but not as dirty as the things my friends and I will do to each other tonight. And yes, this is the best kind of community care I know. And no one has called me a faggot today with anything but love behind it. And no one will call anyone I love a faggot today with anything but love behind it. And I love you, faggots. I love each and every one of you. You, with a glowing purple dildo strapped tight to your forehead, and you, a gaggle of assless chaps with plenty of ass hanging out, and you, again you, eyes closed in the center of the spray. Your arms lifted above your head and water cascading down your face to mix with the water falling now from mine. And my God, I am not ready to die. So I have a background in public health research and sexual health education, and I get super nerdy about data, particularly about sexual health and wellness, about pornography consumption. And so one of the places that I routinely find myself on is the data analytics side of Pornhub, because I just think it's so cool. And so this is a poem. This is the most recent thing I've written. I was editing it late last night. Anti-trans rhetoric is rising at the same time as the consumption of trans porn. The latter fact of which I've just learned courtesy of Pornhub's Transgender Day of Visibility report. And learned furthermore that those aged 65 and up are 21% more likely to watch trans porn than the general population, which is to say, my father is significantly more likely to be found watching trans porn, possibly right now, than I am. And also that the state in which the most trans porn is consumed is Alaska by 28%, followed by Louisiana at 25%. Leading some experts to suspect a link between extreme climates and the urge for exploration. And incidentally, according to public records data and numerous eyewitness accounts, it is also true that the average age of representatives in the US House and Senate is approximately 400 years old. And given that consumption of trans porn only increases with age, it is only logical to conclude that there is, in all likelihood, a bipartisan jerkfest happening between congressional leadership right now as they ejaculate another law demagoguing our existence. So about 2 years ago, I had a classmate in grad school who was looking at a bunch of poems that I'd been writing and said, you know, Gray, all of your poems are around like 12 to 15 lines, and they're all just across the board. They're all about sex. And so I was on the subway home that night and I went, oh, I'm gonna write a bunch of cum sonnets. And so those poems have continued to come. And and my friends say, you know, maybe they're not really about cum. Some of them are. Cum sonnet with the Trojan. There are a million tiny bodies hidden inside the horse. There are a million tiny horses hidden inside the million tiny bodies hidden inside the one gigantic horse. Call anything dangerous and it will become dangerous. Call anyone normal and it will make another someone not. The truth is, vanilla is an incredibly complex flavor. Run your hand over the bean and it will become oily. Run the bean over your hands and they will become pungent. Put extract in the batter and it will transform an experience. Put an experience in the oven too long and it will become hard. Put a million tiny bodies inside one gigantic body and call it enemy. Borders are a device of imperialist rule. Another truth. What is inside has not always been inside. If you leave the horse, you enter the myth. Mythos is a story that is propagated and repeated. Cum sonnet with bite marks. No one ever taught you how to use your teeth, my lover asks. And it is true. I am unpracticed at closure, often arriving too quickly for comfort. Without the buildup, escalation can become unbearable, modeling the surface in transmutant hues. In transmuting the body, bruising is likely to occur. The first time someone called me a faggot, I spent the night bawling my eyes out. The 50th time, I barely heard it for the ringing in my ears. Like this, my lover says, bending their head to my hips. Hard, enough that it hurts. Soft, enough that you still want it. This next poem is structured in a box, so you can just imagine that. For the dolls who came in little boxes, the dolls who came with different dresses, the dolls whose dresses we mismatched, the dolls whose hips mismatched their frames, the dolls we stripped naked when no one else was home, the dolls we smashed together till our hands grew numb, their pussies flat, sucked up in skin. The dolls our sisters never wanted us to touch, the dolls we broke and the dolls we taped up, the dolls we slept with and smothered in our sleeping, the dolls we became but only in our dreaming, the dolls we buried in the back corners of our closets, the dolls who after we were seen with them became a cause of gossip, the dolls our fathers stepped on in the middle of the floor, the dolls our mothers swept in broken pieces out the door, the dolls who were piled into trash bags in the yard, the dolls who disappeared and whose absence went unmarked. I have two more poems for you. So this might have been the poem that Rick was referring to. Some of y'all might remember that 2 weeks after Charlie Kirk was killed last fall, news broke, originally by Advocate News and then by a bunch of other news outlets, that at the behest of the Heritage Foundation, which is the organization that brought you my first poem, Project 2025, that the FBI was exploring classifying trans folks in the US as a terrorist group. And so I wrote this poem that week in this form, thinking about that, but more and more every day it applies to to more and more people I love. Tithe. Transgender ideology-inspired violent extremism. I wake up in the morning and I am a terrorist. I wash the dishes. I read the news. My hands are a terrorist's hands. My ears, a terrorist's ears. The underside of the right one, a bumpy ridgeline from where, as a child, my father cut me, trying to give me an unwanted haircut. I jog through the downtown of the city, and the sounds of my feet slapping the concrete are the sounds of a terrorist's feet. I go to my favorite coffee shop, where all the baristas are terrorists. There, I see my friend from the terrorist knitting group. He makes the most beautiful sweaters, always decorated with flowers. All the people I love most in my life are terrorists. At the terrorist bar, where all the drinks are named in honor of famous terrorists, we pull our hips into one another like a prayer. Our hips, too, are terrorist hips, finally learning how to hold sway. Each Sunday, I empty terrorism into myself at the end of a needle. Each day, I take a pill to metastasize the growth. I knew I was a terrorist when I was 8 years old. The same year, I found my grandfather's Glock in his nightstand, set the mouth against my mouth, thinking maybe, just for a second, I could taste the sound of salvation. And how many of my loves gone now, for what in them the world was not brave enough to be. Trauma is so good for poetry, someone said, after the reading where I spoke about my friend stabbed to death inside her home. You killed it up there, they said. You fucking killed that shit. And it's true. Language is the best weapon for killing at the root. My terrorists. I love each and every one of my terrorists. My terrorists sing gospel. My terrorists have children. My terrorists are found in the gutter each morning. Skin turned blue, etched all over with red and white. No one wants to look at a dead terrorist. No one wants to hear a terrorist's sobs. When my lovers and I touch, we touch with the fervor of a terrorist's wanting. Our mouths are wide and open, fingers cocked, ready to release. And this last poem that I'll share with you tonight is the last poem as it sits right now in my manuscript, which is in a drawer for 6 months. I'm not allowed to look at it, but might find its way out into the world after that. But that's my rule. It needs time to sit. Come sonnet with rim job. How a mouth at night can make halo of the world. The wet O of the lips and soft roll of the tongue. That two hands can still cradle the darkest parts of me. That in parting, I become more whole. That in holiness, we can find our own worship. The first time you touched me, I cried for the want of it. Cried at how natural it felt to speak nothing but prayer. Not that we outlive this world, but only that we linger in it a little longer, that the hollowed heart be made hollow in the glow of the changing light. Past midnight now, the pinpricks from the stars making rivers down our skin. How you rise, kiss my mouth. And there is no word for this that is unclean. That you, reading this, have not stopped reading it. Thank you.
Great, thank you. That was spectacular. I love your work. I love the way that you read it. The line from the beginning, "Let's get naked," I think will now be our new introductory mantra as Cobalt Poets go forward, and we'll just see how that pans out. The phrase bipartisan jerkfest had a lot going on. I love the poem Tive that you read. And had that one been the one that I had seen in Rattle, I would have emailed you even faster. But it was actually Queer Poetry which I think came out at the end of 2025 in Rattle, that put you on my radar. But both were really stellar poems, really amazing set of poetry. Thank you so much for being here, for I guess staying up late, or perhaps I'm always suspicious that poets don't actually go to sleep early, so maybe on the East Coast it doesn't matter, but who knows. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to paste some stuff in the chat, and then also share the screen to show the broadside I made for that poem that you just read, Come Sonnet with Rim Job. Anyone can download this now at the Cobalt Poets website, at the link I just pasted in the chat. If you're watching on YouTube, it's poetrysuperhighway.com/cobalt, and then click on broadsides. This is how we compensate our featured poets. We make one of these for them, put it in the archive so it's there forever, and I hope that you'll consider tipping our poet for their reading tonight. Venmo address has been provided in the chat, so you could do that. It's the same thing as if you're at an in-person reading and a hat goes around and you put some money in for the featured poets reading. Well, tonight Venmo is the hat, so please consider doing that. You can check out Gray's book, Waterfall of Thanks, at brooklynpoets.org. There's a link directly to it there. And that should tide you over until their manuscript eventually comes out of the drawer and sees the light of day, for us to get more from them. And finally, visit Gray online at graydavidsoncarroll.com. The link is also in the chat. Gray, thank you so much. Really wonderful reading. Really appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And so appreciate y'all. And I will say, yes, tip your poets, tip the artists, support the artists around you. So appreciation for anything that y'all send my way.
All right, thank you, Gray. A round of applause for our featured reader, Gray Davidson Carroll. Let's get naked. All right. I will quickly mention before we get to the rest of tonight's open reading that next week's featured reader is a poet named Stevie Edwards. More about them as the week progresses. That leads us to the rest of tonight's open reading. Here's who I have on the list in this order. I apologize, there were a lot of weird technical foibles happening right at the beginning, so if I missed you signing up, apologies. Please just send another message and I'll be happy to add you. Gloria Durgee, Bill Gaines, Sean Mahoney, Jen Wang, Debbie Siegel, Carrie Cox, Heidi Casa, Neil Daswani, and me. If you would like to be added to the list, again, send me a message in the chat. You get to read up to 2 poems, and as a friendly reminder, less is more is the suggested time limit, so that means that Bill Gaines is on deck. Please welcome now Gloria Durgee. Hello, Gloria.
Hello, everyone. Sorry, my camera's not working, so I'll be the voice crying in the wilderness tonight. And you won't be able to see me, but hopefully the words will speak for me. I have two tonight. One is gift of my brother-in-law, Bill Durkee, who also writes. You've heard his work before. I'm going to read him first, and then I have one short new one that I've written. His is called Chinese Boxes. The child imagines that under the tree there is a box labeled winter. And inside that box is a box labeled spring. And inside that one, summer, and inside that, fall, and then winter again. And the child imagines another box that's labeled war. And inside that box are two boxes. One is labeled peace, the other more war. And inside each of those is a box with a question mark, and its lid is sealed. There is a box labeled born, and inside that box is a box labeled died, and its lid is sealed. There is a box labeled God, and its lid is sealed. The last of the boxes is love, and inside that box is a box labeled love. And inside that box is a box labeled love. And inside that box is a box labeled love. And none of the lids are sealed. That's from Bill. Mine is called Home Sweet Home. Do you look at a picture of seniors in a home, dressed in hats, holding horns to greet the new year? Wheelchairs with ribbons trailing, oxygen tanks as they are ailing, white Q-tip hair with glitter tiara pinned there. Why do you expect seniors to dress up to look happy? Is it for you who thinks this makes them feel snappy? Dojic has them in diapers, medication for pain. How does confetti change water into champagne? You think creating clowns will signal joy as they clomp and roll. Boy, oh boy. And peace.
Gloria, your voice came in strong through the darkness of camera offedness. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for bringing another one of your brother-in-law's poems to us as well. Love his work. The box labeled love is a cool concept. Everyone should get several of those boxes to open all day long. And thank you for your poem as well. Great job. Nice to hear you again. Round of applause for Gloria Durkee. On deck, Sean Mahoney. Please welcome now Bill Gaines. Hello, Bill.
Hello. How's everyone's week going so far? I wasn't here last week, so I missed the big excitement of the rocket launch to the moon and back. Well, around the moon and back. But I figured I'd just go ahead and read these anyway. It's National Poetry Month, and 30 poems in 30 days. That'll give me several weeks worth of stuff to do. So this is called Artemis 2 was cool, but have you seen Flight of the Navigator? She's not even hungry. She just likes the taste of jerky. She feels you, astronauts. She likes it when coyotes howl. She always howls back. She couldn't care less if you could care less. She's got all the zeitgeist she needs right in the palm of her hand. End of that piece. And my next one is called Orange, White, and Black. What a noble sacrifice to leave this planet and never touch another, to do what is needed to build upward, to set the stage for generations later when Matthew McConaughey needs a rocket to leave his children and travel through space and time, to do what is needed to save the human race from themselves for a little while longer. End of peace.
Bill, welcome back to Earth. Thank you so much for being here and sharing those poems with us. Sounds like you've got a month full of poems ready to bust out of yourself and into the world. And glad we got to hear a couple of them tonight. Thanks for being here.
Happy to be here.
Round of applause for Bill Gaines. Thank you, Bill. On deck, Jennifer Elise Wang. Please welcome Sean Mahoney. Hello, Sean.
Hello, Rick. Hello, everyone. That was an awesome set tonight, I must say. I just have one. It's called a Google Googleable. Say that 5 times fast. Anyway, I'll give you $1 if you can do that. Googleable. She asked if I wanted any taken off the top. Even my lines, please, and shave everything except the narc mustache. I don't know what a narc stash is supposed to look like, but according to my brother, I have it. The look of a well-paid snitch. What if I told local cops my neighbor shoots bullets into a bale of hay in a residential backyard? How if Mexican street food just disappeared? If Joy Burgers were poisoned by the hundreds of thousands? Sure, Soylent Green was made from lots of fine folks, but it wasn't a Happy Meal. Green is not sad. Green can be bushy or sick or some Mick cosplay costume in March. But envy is arguably strongest of the 7, though we all have secret favorites. I've been fond of straps in the past, and I enjoy Brussels sprouts. Gluttony, I suppose. I should update. For a fee, I can orchestrate your victory parade, your smaller after-party with Coke on flesh and plump on top, cacophony of passages and finality. Wait, you will have long since passed out, puked on your loafers, and passed go in the jacuzzi, hoping to be found before drowning like Jeff Buckley or Brian Jones. Pretty sure those were drownings. Can you think of a drowned female musician? Hair rising underwater, still with bright red lipstick and an ass that will not concede to death. T-shirts possess magic. I am sure of it. I create T-shirts as my brother does. I generally like him. He has a Team Jesus T-shirt. It might say Hit Jesus. I don't recall. Wouldn't you want to hit the Prince of Peace? Eggs are $20 a carton. The straight no longer free. Those companies that made ice and industry have seen their empires melt. Turns out room temperature beer is easier on esophageal lining, which allows for my envy sounding like yours. Bowls of bile, anise. Of course it's not his fault. Christ, I know that, Karen. Bubba, Cecil. Avocado and crispy anchovies, hot bread, mint tea, distraction under the cool palms. And Dorothy, keep in mind, no heads exploded from 5G. Spy balloons just aren't practical when everything about you lives online, wherever AI chooses to file you. End piece. Thank you.
Sean, when they make a motion picture of that poem, I will go to see it in the theater. You've made me a fan tonight of your cinematic work.
I will put you in the movie. It will be your face on the T-shirts as Jesus, because the president does it too. So why not?
Sure. Yeah. Well, that's something else to look forward to. What did you say you would give us $1 for? I missed that part of.
Oh, Googleable 5 times fast.
Oh, if you say Googleable 5 times fast.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, prepare your videos of you doing that, everyone, because Sean's got nothing but dollar bills to give out to everyone. You did also get me thinking, what would the prize be in the Happy Meal if Soylent Green was the main? So that's another question we can think about. Is
My imagination did not go there, but good question.
Yeah, thank you. All right, Sean, thank you for being here. Great piece tonight. Round of applause for Sean Mahoney.
Thank you.
On deck, Debbie Siegel. Please welcome now Jennifer Elise Wang. Hello, Jennifer.
Hey, I've got 2. The first is a cover of a poem that I found through the Uncanny Magazine Sci-Fi Fantasy podcast. I was listening to the episode the other day, and this poem just kind of blew me away. It's by Cassandra Kah, who usually does, I think, fiction, but has some great poems. And the title is Apathetic Goblin Nightmare Woman. I guess you said you could stand to be sleeker, stand taller, be smaller, like the bamboo behind your $2 Bata Shiva, your Buddha from the neighborhood thrift store. Wear skirts that soften the rhetoric of your politics, your culture conscious, myth haunted, fairy hysterics, your imminent immigrant histrionics. I know you said that you're not my manic pixie dream girl, but did you have to be an apathetic, unsympathetic, totally neurotic, trash talking, line crossing, goblin nightmare woman? Well, yes, I am the sum of parts that don't fit, Tirnanog in a dress that won't reach my knees, won't soften the glare of the moon on my teeth, won't distract from the horns or the thorns in my hair. I am a literal nightmare, motherfucker, and that's fine with me. So no, I will not be softer, sweeter, better with your mother. In centuries prior, I'd have eaten her bones for supper. Just because I made the mistake of taking you to my bed doesn't mean you have any right to say where I make my bed. I am the Tengu, mountain queen, enraged by the injustices that I have seen. I am the buka, the puka, the knockers that follow miners to America, drumming dirges for the dying. I am the act of suffocating on society's improprieties, the red cap with a bucket of gore, snarling, fuck this, no more. I am the mess you left in the confessional, the opposite of what you find rational. And if you don't like that, fuck that. Take your shit and go. Under the mountains, there is no place for people like you. And if you choose to stay, I can't promise we won't choose one day to make you a mince pie with a butter crust of glazing of nuts, a sour sweetness like the way you said to me I was okay, but never good enough. And I will link the poem here and the site that I found it on. And then the second one, kind of in the spirit of cum sonnets, I will share my sonnet that came about because somebody said we should write thirst tweets in iambic pentameter, and so I did that. I couldn't do it to the voice actor; that was like kind of a little weird. So I did it to one of the animes that he voiced. It was Beastars, which wrapped up the series recently, and so this is "Devour Me." Oh, Mr. Wolf, of fur so long and gray, I know you're holding your desire back. Unlock those jaws, partake of me like prey. My neck is yours to squeeze till there's a crack. I want to feel those claws on tender thighs. You must embrace your nature, carnivore. The hunger in your eyes, tell me no lies. You want to leave me crying out for more of that saliva dripping down those teeth that tear my lips' soft flesh each time we kiss. Immerse yourself. I am ready, prone beneath your body. Find in me the path to bliss. I willingly agree to be devoured so you can have the chance to be deflowered.
Wow. Really stellar reading tonight, Jennifer. What a find, that poem that you brought to us. I made a note of Cassandra, and I'm going to see if I can find her and get her to read here in this space. That was amazing. I love how you're inspired by other people's work, and you often bring other poets here. I think very often, especially in the open mic world, people are really focused on their own opportunities and seeking those out. And I think we forget sometimes that we should love poetry if we're involved with it, and you always demonstrate a love for poetry. So I appreciate that. Thank you for that. Thank you for your poem as well. A round of applause for Jennifer Elise Wang.
Thank you. And I'll link my poem's going to be published in this zine that my friend has. It's like part smut mag, part literary magazine. Somebody apparently walked off with the physical copies from their doorstep. So somebody's having some of my smut somewhere. But yeah, here's the link to the Patreon.
I mean, all in all, if people are stealing poetry, there's not a lot to complain about there. That feels like a success for us. So no complaints. And yes, more cum sonnets as well. Carrie Cox, you are on deck. Please welcome now Debbie Siegel. Hello, Debbie.
Hello, everyone. Maybe next time I'll bring other poets' poetry, but for today, I mean, I think I will. I'm inspired. I'm going to do that next time. But for today, I've got something new. Invite new worlds with ritual. Believing precedes the believer that believes. Rationality is a colonial geometry. Bias is how differences show up. Oblique, sideways, fungal, foam, angled, partial. Subject-object merges, rippling biases, world entangled with itself. Love is the porosity through processes of living and loving, not a bypass. The lie of modernity is there is a shortage of enchantment. Is making room the same as sanctuary? Sit with it. Don't bind it with commentary. Sense the field, other ways. This is not the first time the world ends. Power is strange. Grief is incomplete. Yet to hold the incomplete, hold the moment, sense the field. What is it we are bound to? What when settlement unsettles? What is ceremony? Ritual. Dig a hole, pick flowers, scatter seeds, arrange stones, childlike. Pick stones that sing, hold pain, ask beautiful questions, dance the world. Invite new worlds in days of ceremony. Persist in indeterminacy, ceremony that doesn't know. Sense the treasures already here. Let necropolis decompose. Thank you.
Debbie, thank you so much. Great piece. You don't need to apologize for reading your own poems. I didn't mean to imply that that was not the whole purpose of this very event. Anyone is welcome to read their poems, and always happy when people do it, and admire the bravery that it takes to do so as well. So thank you for being here again. As always, round of applause for Debbie Siegel. Heidi Casa, you're on deck. Please welcome Carrie Cox. Hello, Carrie.
Hello, Rick. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you. I have two new pieces, being that it's Poetry Month and all that, been writing. So the first one is called Sausage Factory. It's a little bit of a political piece. Able, gabled, facts and fable, jeweled and garbed with garbled fabric, magic, static, and something even more fantastic. Fast at it, the habit, the none such of another crutch that came in the clutch to give a stammer to the dust. Where only one set of footsteps fall, no one carried me, no one pushed my gurney down the hall. Open gown clowned into forgetting, falling down, walk sleeping, talk weeping, sound seeping, housekeeping, mouse seeking, feline, imagining mine, the smallest kind that can stare down an elephant, the one in the room, or even those less irrelevant. The memories of funerals, like stories of each supplicant, a cocktail made of madness and torrent and sugar and mint and the heavy aphrodisiac of a petal's new scent. I could tell you every day, headline what I need to say so you won't hear it any other way, blaring news of what you can't blink away. Bullhorned into Benjamins, old white moths eating their way through your wallets. Here comes the hard truth. Don't try and swallow it without some kind of paper chaser, dry in the throat like a lying love note, heart severed with a laser. Now there's a minor injury to the aorta major, the jugular juggling the pulse like a bounce, the pressure mimicked in every liquid ounce, the ventricles humming their hiccuped harumph while we blind the best visions for fear of becoming unnumbed. My second poem is called Ruminary. Where's the jungle about to bloom in the humid spaces we have cultivated out of breath and moisture, sometimes tears, our own blood, the minerals seeping into the soil where wild things eat? Where are the webs the spiders were infinitely imagining, the walking into, the trapped tendrils stuck to your bare skin like a common bug just before realizing its mummification is underway while still alive? Where on maps do the dots tell stories, constellations of 1,000 trips taken? And even the empty spaces where we didn't go, where we flew through the sky, staring from portholes into cloud cover castles, pillars of light and dust and water droplets holding us aloft long enough to become a mathematic equation, a point A and B. Is marrow holy? Is life a speed round, a slow turning inside out? Is the chance worth the risk when your mouth's full of meteors and no one thinks they're as beautiful as you do? Is there a difference between lavender and salamander belly hues, postpartum and postmortem blues, the missing pieces we couldn't refuse, a spot of refuge when the heart's a recluse, sometimes needing time to love itself loose? Is that an ace up your sleeve or is it a deuce? Are you playing to win or paying your dues? I've walked all these miles with stitch skin for shoes, moccasin breathing, the cotton-mouthed noose. I'm sad still in passport pictures punctured by latitudes, an immigrant instinct for traveling in twos. I'm shades of a sales pitch of how not to lose your money, your mind, or your favorite excuse. If space is an exit and time is a wound, healing itself as the universe ballooned, why am I grieving what can never be ruined? Thank you.
Carrie, thank you. You blow us away every week with your work, and how you read it. Tonight was no difference. Different. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thanks,
Round of
everyone.
applause for Carrie Cox. Well done, Carrie. On deck, Neil Daswani. Please welcome now Heidi Casa. Hello, Heidi.
Hi, Rick. Hello, everybody. Carrie, I'm just still reeling from that last line. Why am I grieving what can never be ruined? I tried to type it, and then I was like, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to say it. Okay. I have two tonight. Spring lights. In night dark gloom, shapes in the park crowd my peripheral. Who has littered so many pieces of trash on the flat earth? Peering closer, white flower blooms paper the block of grass. Without any streetlights, the flowers' upturned faces illuminate blackness. They wink at my surprise from how they erupted in one day. And the fish hat day. It wasn't the shimmery salmon scales of my fish hat or the teeth of your shark hat slipping over your forehead. Probably it was your insistence over the phone, even though I was busy, stressed, and thick with sadness. We still go out into the sunny day, milling among San Francisco tourists. We played the game longer than the kids, wearing the hats on the buses, eating crepes and sourdough like we didn't live there, making the ever stoic person smile for once. The fish hat hanging on my wall reminds me your lesson. The carefree tone of vacation is something that spins out of you. Thank you.
Is Fish Hat Day like an annual holiday for a particular culture or group of people, or was it a one-time occurrence?
It was a one-time occurrence, but I think it should take over Taco Tuesday, if I'm being honest.
That's, I mean, is there not a world in which these two things could exist together? I mean, it's a pretty bold statement being from Austin and saying that Taco Tuesday can go, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but except for in Austin, like tacos are every day and every time, and
How
yeah.
lucky some of us are.
Right.
All right, well, let's continue this conversation. I think there's some important issues to hash out. Thank you for both of those poems, Heidi. Always grateful to see you here.
Yeah, always grateful to be here. Thank you. I just saw in the chat Bill Gaines wants to put them together and have Fish Taco Hat Tuesday.
Let's get the seamstresses involved. Round of applause for Heidi Casa. Thank you, Heidi. Seamstress was an unnecessarily gender-filled term, wasn't it? On deck, Jared Campbell. Please welcome now Neil Deswani. Hello, Neil.
Hi, Rick. Good to be back. I've got two very short ones, hopefully, so we can get through them quickly. The first one is titled, Let the Devil Take the Hindmost. One for all and all for one. That's not what I was taught. Let the devil take the hindmost. I'm prepared to let him stew. I'm prepared to grab the lion's share, even though I never fought. Let the devil take the hindmost. I'm prepared to let him stew. Don't give a toss for the tossers so long as I'm front of queue. Let the devil take the hindmost. I'm prepared to let him stew. You have to act entitled so that you get what is your due. Let the devil take the hindmost. I'm prepared to let him stew. While I was busy with all this chanting, they formed another line. The devil kept the hindmost seat. He made sure that it was mine. Okay, so that's the first short one, and on to another short one, which is titled, Said My Sinner to the Saint in Me. Said my sinner to the saint in me, for once I wish you'd set me free, for I yearn to paint this town in red. Blink twice, if you'll let me go ahead. Well, your objections I cannot set aside, but it's the dithering that I can't abide. So please shut the door and turn the key, or better, open this window as wide as can be. But what if our conscience shows up as referee? Well, we're adults here. Can't we agree to disagree? And that's me done. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you, Neil. Fun poems tonight. Thanks. Nice to see you again. Thanks for being here and sharing them with us.
Thanks.
Round of applause for Neil Deswani. I'm on deck to close out the open reading. Please welcome now Jared Campbell. Hello, Jared.
Hello. So I've got two sonnets. The first, geese are such proud birds that I think the collective noun for geese shouldn't be gaggle. I think it should be a pride of geese. So that's what I did. Broken is the winter that the oak tree fingers unconcealed these many months. I'm looking at a pride of geese on the soccer field, depositing distinctive scat. Their world is unfenced and unsealed. I look in a restricted format between the squirrel shit on the windshield. The oak above my driveway teems with life. I'll wipe it off when I fill up with gas. The geese shout their inimitable cry, a sound communicating upper class, the confidence to hold your head up high and leave what doesn't serve you in the grass. And then my second uses the word crepuscular, which is one of the ways you can describe things that have to do with twilight. Darling, walk crepuscular with me and watch magenta, yellow, and cyan exhaust their optic stimulating span, wake to other sensuality. Smell the resinous breathing of the trees, hear the singing of the creek. It sings. It doesn't rhyme and doesn't scan and has no other function but to be. Come in. A rabid time pursues us now as ever, and if static, we progress. Its memory sustains us dusk to dusk, and making memories is the heated how, as slow as honey and as sweet as musk. We fix us in each other's amber, ageless.
Jared, that's some fine work there. Thank you so much for bringing it to us. I like the whole concept of pride of geese, and I can guarantee you that they're not going to complain. You're going to get the same geese honks either way. So I think that they're ready for the change. Thank you for that, and thanks for coming back.
Thank you.
Round of applause for Jared Campbell. All right, folks, on deck is the rest of your lives. And I'm going to continue, be up next with a couple of poems here. Reading from my book, High Moose Alert, poems I wrote 2 summers ago in Alaska. This little section was written the morning that we were leaving Canada, Dawson City, Yukon Territory, and heading on our way to Denali. So here you go. Among the first words I hear this morning and the last in Dawson City, Yukon Territory, Canada are, I don't like drinking coffee out of a little hole. Who does, darling, as we unfold our coffee box lids to hopefully arrive sooner at a desirable temperature for the very little time we have left in this magnificent nation. As the plane's wheels leave your ground, your forests and forest fires, Canada, your kissing rivers, your gold, your Jack London. You only had him briefly, but he was yours. Goodbye, Canada, we're Alaska bound, where the moose and bears don't need passports, where the glaciers have never heard of passports. Au revoir, Canada, your leftover dollars in an envelope for next time. There you go. A little something for you to read if you ever leave Canada. This final piece was written this past week for this week's Torah portion. This week's Torah portion, the English translation of the title means she conceives / one who suffers. Those two lines don't actually go together. There's only so many weeks during the year, and there happen to be more Torah portions than there are weeks. So sometimes they take 2 sections and read them in 1 week. So one of them was called She Conceives, and the other one was called One Who Suffers. Isn't that interesting? This poem was written responding to those words. It's called I Am the Afflicted. Who am I who has never given birth, who could never give birth, to weigh in on what a woman should do or feel when giving birth? Once I saw men and women separated by an acre of sand, fling off their clothes and run into the ocean. They were declared ritually clean after, and the rest of their lives together commenced. Another time, in fact, a handful of times, we had to shut the doors with only one of us inside to make sure the plague stayed in one place. Another time, but only once, my beloved made another human being. I helped with the paperwork, but not much else. She is the creator. I am the afflicted. Well, that's all I have for you tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being here. Great evening. Thank you, Gray Davidson, if you are watching in absentia, for your stellar featured reading. You blew us all away. There's the stuff I pasted earlier. If you would like to tip and support Gray for their reading, there is their Venmo ID. You can download the broadside for their poem at the Cobalt Poets website. Link right there. Also, on that website is the calendar of who's coming up in coming weeks. As I mentioned earlier, Stevie Edwards, the poet, will be here next week. And finally, if you're not already on our email list, click on email list on the website, add your email if you would like to receive 2 emails a week letting you know who is coming up, along with a convenient Zoom link. Finally, back to Gray, there's a link to Gray's book at the publisher's website, Waterfall of Thanks, over at Brooklyn Poets. And you can visit Gray online at graydavidsoncarroll.com. Thanks everyone for being here. Lovely, lovely evening. I'm going to click on the Ask All to unmute and feel free to do so.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks a lot.
Excellent stuff. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
Thank
Well,
you, everyone.
I enjoyed it too. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you, everyone. Beautiful work tonight.
Hi, Chris. Are you still there?
Looks like it.
She's there, but she's muted.
Yeah. All right, you guys. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night, everyone. Love you. Thank you. It was wonderful.
All right, bye, everybody.
Good night.